We would like to welcome Dr. David Rutstein, the Secretary General of the Bahá'í International Community. Please, Doctor, if you can join us on stage. Thank you.
Good morning. First, I want to acknowledge the wonderful talk of my dear friend, Sheikh Mafak Tarif, who I love very much, also from Israel, and we find ourselves together at many different venues around the world. So, please. Government officials, distinguished guests, conference sponsors, honored attendees, brothers and sisters. I'm delighted to be here to share with you some thoughts on behalf of the Bahá'í International Community on the role of youth in fostering spiritual principles to build a unified global community. The world order that emerged several generations ago has brought wonderful material advances, but it has also brought some stark limitations and inequities. Nationalism, racism, ethnic conflict, religious animosity, environmental degradation, and economic disparities weigh heavily on the hearts of many. We see a decline in basic decency, good faith dialogue, and trustworthiness. Leaders and institutions are perceived as discredited by corruption or inadequacy. Yet, increasingly, it is youth who, less encumbered by outmoded ways of thinking, recognize that the human race is one, and its populations are interdependent. And they are correct. Humanity is one species comprised of people with an infinite diversity of physical traits who create and live in different societies and cultures, all of which occupy the same single beautiful planet. A dispassionate assessment of current environmental, economic, and political realities demonstrates the intertwined facet of our existence, our essential human oneness and interdependence. The acceptance of this fact is a prerequisite for advancing a unified global community, a prerequisite that many young people already understand. However, youth are still frequently regarded as threats or problems to be solved. Even well-intentioned institutional efforts designed to empower them often confine their engagement to specific issues rather than broader societal challenges. These efforts structure their opportunities in symbolic ways or place them in demanding situations without adequate training or support. Thus, the vast potential to transform society for the better lies largely untapped within the world's young people. About 40% of the world's population is under 24 years of age. There are 2.4 billion people between the ages of 10 and 29. Recognizing and releasing this potential can lead to new patterns of interaction between generations. But this requires profound rethinking of attitudes and assumptions about youth. This is beginning to happen. Young people's roles in transforming and advancing societies are being increasingly recognized and explored. This conference is an example. given the sheer numbers of youth in the world, if properly trained and drawn upon, they would have a global impact. How should we begin, and what tools can we provide them? It is religion that teaches all of us that human nature is fundamentally spiritual. Yet, the rise of religious fanaticism and the corruption of religious institutions have disheartened many of the world's people. Many have increasingly turned to materialistic pursuits or man-made ideologies only by focusing on the spiritual dimension of human reality, that unifying policies and programs can truly reflect the experiences and aspirations of the planet's inhabitants and elicit their support and active participation. Baha'u'llah, the prophet founder of the Baha'i faith, stated, "Religion is the greatest of all means for the establishment of order in the world and for the peaceful contentment of all that dwell therein." And referring to its absence or corruption, he wrote, "Should the lamp of religion be obscured, chaos and confusion will ensue, and the lights of fairness, of justice, of tranquility and peace cease to shine." The core spiritual principles held in common by the world's religions, which emanate from the same divine source, contain within them the primary means for the reconciliation and advancement of the earth's people. The leaders of religion can be the chief promulgators of these concepts. They can inspire and encourage others. They can promote hope and joy. They can help others to see the wonders of the physical world as reflections of spiritual truths. And they can help all of us to recognize love as the fundamental, unifying property of existence. At the same time, it cannot be denied that the power of religion has also been perverted, often by its leaders, to turn neighbor against neighbor. The Baha'i writings state, "Religion must be the source of fellowship, the cause of unity, and the nearness of God to man. If it rouses hatred and strife, it is evident that the absence of religion is preferable." So long as religious animosities are allowed to destabilize the world, it will be impossible to foster a unified global community. Thus, we all have a profound responsibility to prevent and help populations overcome such animosities. We all must push forward in building a unified global community, but the youth, accepting of diversity and endowed with unceasing energy, must take this effort to new heights. But how do we ensure that youth, especially girls, have sufficient opportunities? To eliminate religious, ethnic, gender, and national prejudices, we need capable young leaders, male and female, who have been liberated from antiquated ways of thinking. And we need them in the hundreds of thousands, not just in the dozens. How can entire populations, not just a few motivated individuals, function as effective actors shaping their society's aspirations and development? The Baha'i community has explored these questions through community-based initiatives in which training is crucial. Initiatives that serve the wider community, not just Baha'is. In fact, Baha'i participants are a minority of the young adolescents involved. These initiatives include training in basic skills, modern technologies, and productive disciplines. but they also foster attitudes and convictions about the kind of individuals youth can and wish to become, contributors to a peaceful and just world. Experience shows that when youth of diverse backgrounds explore moral purpose over time, while aspiring to be of service to society, they develop resilience, avoid cynicism, and project hope despite adversity. These qualities sustain social change efforts for the long term. An example is a program for the moral empowerment of young adolescents, which currently serves 300,000 young people of all backgrounds in 35,000 neighborhood and village-based groups in over 180 countries. A network of 330 national and regional training institutes enables youth of all religious backgrounds to sustain several 100,000 community-building activities simultaneously, involving 2 million neighbors, friends, and families. While such figures are modest, sustainable endeavors often begin small, then grow in scale and impact. In this example, individuals are developing new moral, intellectual, and practical capacities, and they develop genuine acceptance of others while accommodating and coordinating complexity. This program starts humbly and grows within local populations, complementing the mastery of scientific and social disciplines and transcending the allure of often trivial material distractions. No matter how far the material world advances the Baha'i writing state, it cannot establish the happiness of mankind. Only when material and spiritual civilization are linked and coordinated will happiness be assured. Going forward, we must encourage everyone to act in ways that are consistent with the rational soul, the chief instrument of which is the human mind, unencumbered by the man-made barriers that keep us apart. We must champion the abolition of all forms of prejudice and exclusivity while celebrating the diversity of the human race. Defend the right of every individual to investigate truth for themselves. Uphold the equality of men and women. Advocate for the harmony of science and religion. Recognize that every human being is endowed with latent capacities, and thus everyone must have access to education, especially girls, who are the first educators of subsequent generations. And we must be bold proponents of both peace and justice. Baha'u'llah's statement that all people are created to carry forward an ever-advancing civilization implies that we all have the responsibility to contribute to the peace, prosperity, and unity of the entire human family. Our youth may be most effective at doing so. Thank you.